Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today I'm going to be running through who I'll be tipping ahead of the round 13 of the 2025 AFL season, as well as reviewing my tips from last round and telling you guys which ones I got correct. Now if you guys do go on to enjoy this video, as always, could you please show me that by liking the video as well as subscribing to the channel if you guys are new. Enough wasting your time, let's get straight into things. Now before we get stuck into things, I just want to quickly let you all know that I do have a tipping comp for the 2025 AFL season. The link to join is in the description below, and we're currently at 95 members and we're gonna try and get to 100 members as soon as we can. First place in the tipping comp will receive a cash prize of $100, as well as second place $30 and third place $15, and you're not going to want to miss out on that because they're absolutely huge cash prizes. In third place currently is ESPN fan, second place is DeConti8, and first place, yet again, no shock, is Ben Rafferty. So he's absolutely tearing up the competition at the moment. But I'm not going too bad myself. I've currently rised up to 23rd in my own competition, with me only getting 2 tips incorrect last week. The first tip I got incorrect was me tipping the Suns to defeat the Fremantle Dockers. I thought that one was a relatively pretty big upset. I mean, Fremantle definitely went in there with the underdogs, and now it seems like they're the team that everyone was predicting them to be at the beginning of the season. And the other one, I backed Melbourne to get the home win at Alice Springs against St Kilda, but St Kilda were definitely the more dominant team on the day and got the upper hand. And now let's move into the part that you guys have all clicked on this video for, to see who I'm tipping for the 2025 AFL season and round 13. To kick the round off, over on the Thursday at 7:30 PM at Marvel Stadium, we have the Western Bulldogs taking on the Hawthorn Hawks. This is a very, very big game for both teams. The Bulldogs are definitely proving themselves this year, and they're definitely a really big chance to win the flag this year, and they're certainly finals contenders. The Bont is in outstanding form this year. I think he's definitely going to be a top 5 for the Brownlow in 2025 if he keeps up this form, despite him missing a few early games. Bailey Dale, he's been in some really good form as well as Liberatore. As for the Hawks though, after that very, very big 51-point loss against the Collingwood Magpies last week, some people are starting to think that they might be in fraud watch. They could be frauds, and who knows, maybe they're not as good as some people think they are. I mean, they had a really, really strong start to the year, sitting on first place for a little while there, but now they're slowly dropping off, and after last week, they just did not look like themselves. Jack Ginnivan, though, had an outstanding game, definitely not going to be in the VFL anytime soon, kicked 3 goals and had 30 plus disposals. This is a huge game, both teams definitely going to want to prove themselves. I am going to tip the Dogs, though, to get the upper hand. I think they're just slightly better, and are going to be struggling to stay in that top 8 towards the end of the season. So I took the Dogs to win the game by 13 points. At 7:40 PM on the Friday at the Adelaide Oval, we have the Adelaide Crows taking on the Brisbane Lions. This is a relatively big game as well. Both teams have some pretty great midfielders. Obviously, the Brisbane Lions midfield consists of Hugh McCluggage, Lachie Neale, both the Ashcroft brothers. As for the Crows, got Dawson in the mix, Saligo as well. Isaac Rankin's really hard to miss. Rochelle, Thilthorpe, Fogarty, they're all in very, very good form at the moment, likely to kick a bag, one of them this week. The Lions won last week against the Essendon Bombers, and the margin was relatively closer than what most would have thought it would be. And the Crows, after last week's win against the Sydney Swans, a team that made the grand final last year and won the game by 90 points. That is huge, and that was away in Sydney. And they're going to be holding their heads up high heading into this week's game, which is why I am going to tip the Crows to get the win this week. It might be a closer one, but I think the Crows still win by 20 points. Now to start off the Saturday at 1:20 PM over at the MCG, we have the Richmond Tigers taking on the Sydney Swans. As I just mentioned before, the Sydney Swans had an absolutely shocking 90-point loss against the Adelaide Crows last week at home, and it's just really, really not looking good for the Swans. And who knows, if things go this badly, they're going to really struggle to win more than 3 games in the second half of the season. As for the Tigers, they've shown some positives, only losing by 3 points last week, and I thought they were going to win the whole game until they just couldn't really play as well as some people would have hoped in that fourth quarter. The Swans, despite their list, it does look like they're one of the best teams in the league when you do look at their list, but unfortunately, it's just not enough to win a lot of those games. Finished first place last year, and now their season's already over halfway through 2025. And I'm actually going to tip the Tigers to win in an upset here. A lot of people are going to back the Swans, but I'm going to tip the Tigers in an upset. Let's go Tigers by a goal. Let's back them by 1 goal. Now heading over to Geelong at GMHBA Stadium at 4:15 PM. We have the Geelong Cats taking on the Gold Coast Suns. Cats do sit at 5th on the ladder while the Suns sit at 4th. Both teams with the exact same amount of wins to their name. Jeremy Cameron currently leading in the Coleman medal, so he'll need to have a big game ahead of the Gold Coast Suns. Bailey Smith, he is genuinely currently my pick for the Brownlow medal this year. There's definitely a few names swinging around there who could win it, but I think Bailey Smith is a very heavy contender at the moment. I feel like he's gotten 3 votes nearly every single week. Had 25 possessions at halftime in last week's matchup, which was absolutely huge. Anderson, Noble, Rao, Miller, they're all going to be very, very key players who are going to have to take a stand this week if they want to win. But I think at home, in front of their home crowd, the Geelong Cats, probably not in their preferred time slot. I think they'll get up in this one. I think it'll be close. I'm going to go Cats to win the game by 11 points. Now over at Manuka Oval, GWS Giants taking on the Port Adelaide Power. GWS. Yeah, let's go back. Let's back the Giants by 40. Now moving on to the Sunday, we have North Melbourne taking on the West Coast Eagles. 3:20 p.m. Sunday at Hands Bloody Oval. Yep, they're going to Bunbury. First Bunbury game in AFL history, absolutely huge. And it could be an alright game. 17th place taking on 18th place. Should be pretty close. Very, very low scoring, I would assume. Could this be a chance for the West Coast Eagles to pick up their second win of the season? Obviously, they defeated the St Kilda Saints only a few weeks back. As for North Melbourne, they've shown a few positives, obviously getting that draw against the Brisbane Lions and defeating the Melbourne Demons earlier this season. Both teams are in pretty shocking form. North Melbourne, arguably one of the biggest rebuilds and one of the longest rebuilds in AFL history. They've been pretty shocking the last few years, and I don't see any positives coming out of them for another 3-4 years, to be honest. The West Coast Eagles, Harley Reid had an alright game last week, kicked one of the best goals we've seen all season. LDU, Powell, Simpkin, they've all been really great as well. Liam Baker might be one of the best recruits of the year, and he's been alright. Yeah, he has been pretty good for the West Coast Eagles. He's definitely made some game-changing plays. Overall though, I think North Melbourne are the slightly better team. I will back North Melbourne to win the game by 2 goals, meaning 12 points, but I feel like this game could really go either way. At 7:20 p.m. at the MCG, we have the Carlton Blues taking on the Essendon Bombers for the final game of the Sunday. Two of my least favourite teams in the AFL. Really don't want to have to tip either of these teams, to be honest with you. One team will have to be the winner though. Well, unless it's the draw, but I'm not going to tip a draw. Nick Martin, probably his best season he's ever played of AFL football. Zach Merritt, a heavy Brownlow medal contender for this year. Goldstein, he stepped up heavily ever since the loss of Sam Draper. Overall though for Carlton, I feel like Patrick Cripps, yes, he's had a great season. I can't be saying that he's been playing bad, but he's definitely nothing compared to last year's Brownlow medal season. I think at the MCG, Essendon don't typically play too well there, nor Carlton, but I think Carlton have a bit more experience there. Essendon more used to the more Marvel Stadium games, or Etihad. I will take Carlton. I don't know why. Both teams don't really deserve this win to their name. It's going to be pretty boring game. One of the graveyard games, I would say, of the round. We'll tip the Blues to win the game though. It's going to be a very weird margin. I'll say 17 points. And for the final game of the round at 3:20 p.m. on the Monday at the MCG, we have the Melbourne Demons taking on my boys, the Pies. Look, I understand the rivalry. It's a very big rivalry, big freeze matchup. Everyone wants to see a close game. Hate to break it to you though, I feel like there's a very huge skill gap between both these teams, the Melbourne Demons and the Collingwood Magpies. The Pies, they're definitely contending for that Premiership Cup. They're favourites to win it at the moment. As for the Melbourne Demons, at the start of the year, it was looking like they were going to be a bottom 4 team. They've definitely found some form over the last few weeks and now are contending to make that top 8. Do I think they have what it's got to make the 8? Possibly, if they can just keep up this form. I'd be shocked if they won a final this year though, let alone made finals. Jamie Elliott contending for that Coleman medal. Nick Dacos contending for the Brownlow. His brother Josh Dacos could even be up there in the Brownlow medal count at some stage this year. Ned Long, he's had easily his career best season this year. I don't know what's happened, but he's easily most improved in the entire AFL, I would say, this year. This is going to be very, very biased. It's going to sound very, very biased. I think Darcy Cameron's the top 5 ruckman in the AFL right now. Some people would disagree, but when you look at him throughout the games, yes, he doesn't typically win every single hit out. He sometimes doesn't have the most hit outs every single week, but he is more than that. He can go down back if he needs. He can go up forward if they need him to. He plays a really big role around the ground, and he's doing that all by himself now that Dan McStay's out. So he's doing the best he can. I think he's top 5 AFL ruckmans right now. So if you can't tell, I'm going to back the Pies to win this one. I think it's going to be a high margin. Let's go Pies by 40. And now, if you guys did enjoy today's video, could you please show me that by liking the video as well as subscribing to the channel if you guys are new. Anyway, I'll see you all in the next video that I post here on the channel.